All right, so let's start from the beginning. So the pasuk says, "Va'avdil etchem min ha'amim liot li." So the Mechilta brings out the pasuk, by the way, "V'item li kedushim ki kadosh ani Hashem." Right. So it says you should be kadosh because I am kadosh, I am God. Va'avdil, I'm going to separate you between the nations in order to be mine. I'm going to separate you from the nations in order to be mine. So he explains, "Im atem uvdalim min ha'amim hare atem sheli." If you're going to be separated from the nations, you will be mine. Ve'im lav hare atem shel Nebuchadnezzar ve'havera. But if you don't separate yourself from the nations to be kadosh, you're going to be a part of Nebuchadnezzar and his friends. This is what the Mechilta says. And ve'hu tema dema ba lehodiyenu. What's the Midrash coming to teach us? I mean, it's kind of, first of all, it's crazy harsh, but like, what is it? It's coming to teach us something. What's it coming to teach us? We know what the Mekubalim write in the first parak of Echa. It says, "Hayu sareha lerosh." What does that mean? Hayu sareha lerosh. That the enemies of Israel were our heads, masters. Which means what? The Hakamim write in Gitin, Nun Vav Amud Bet. Whoever is going to subjugate Bnei Israel, they become a head. Why? So we shouldn't say that Bnei Israel were overruled or overpowered by some tribe in Africa. It has to be a world power. So if Iran is not a world power, I don't think you have to worry about them taking over us. You have to worry about some issues, but your survival is not. That's not that.
It says in the.
By the way, today's Yom HaShoah.
I'm very well.
Hitler was a painter.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Haman was a barber. A barber. Nebuchadnezzar was part of he sent out the mail in the royal palace. He was the one that handled like the letters, the Igerets.
The postmaster.
Something like that, yeah. So all these guys were small, and then they rose. Every one of them.
But it says that it says in Megillah that the Jews, when we were living in Paras and Madai, we have a way of wanting to adopt culture very, very much wherever we are.
Yeah.
So it says in the Gemara that we became more Persian and more Median
than they did. Wow. Yeah, it's true. You have to stay separate. Culture is not being part of society has nothing to do with culture.
But it's them. They were the force. They were the ruling.
Who was Parasumadai?
Yeah.
Yeah, because wherever we are, we want to be like them. Right. Wherever we are, we want to be because you want to be light. You want to be part of the people, but you want to be part of the boys. That's what he's trying to say. That don't be part of the boys. Because if you want to be part of the boys, my father always says, he goes, if you didn't think you were a Jew when Hitler came around, he reminded you that you were.
Michael Rappaport just went on one of his fantastic rants, as graphic as ever. But the point, it is perfect because he's yelling at all these self-hating as a Jews. He goes on a rant as a Jews. All these things that people are saying. Well, as a Jew, I say that the two-state solution, or as a Jew, right? So he says that point that your father said. As a Jew, guess what?
So by the way, you have to realize something. Who sends them? Hashem Borei Olam sends them. Why? Because it says in the Midrash, it says in the Gemara, in Megillah, if you're going to mention it, that if Bnei Israel, I'm going to send Bnei Israel simanim, I'm going to send them signs to make teshuvah, and if they don't make teshuvah, then I'm going to send them a leader as harsh as Haman Harasha, and we'll beat it out of them. We'll get it out of them.
One way or the other.
One way or another, they're coming back. So it's all how you want to do. You want to do it the easy way, you want to do it the hard way. So it's saying over here that Hayu Sareh Lerosh, that the Gemara in Gitin says whoever is Metzar Israel becomes the Rosh. Right? And we know that Bnei Israel are Ra'ui, that we're supposed to be connected to Kedusha. Right? Shayu Kulam Mushrashim Bakdusha, that we're what does it say? Mushrash has the right way to say it. Is connected or sourced, rooted. Attached. Okay, attached to Kedusha. So when we do what Hashem wants us to do, right? Then you're gonna be with Hashem. Makes sense. You're gonna be Kadosh. But when you make sins, what happens? The Kedusha leaves you. The Kedusha inside you leaves you. And when the Kedusha leaves you, what comes inside of you? Tumah. We learned when we were kids, we did work we helped with abuse and stuff like that, right? So what's the reason why someone abuses something? Because they have a void inside. So when they have a void, they're trying to fill the void. So they try to fill it, then that's how problems start. But the fact that you have a void in the beginning is the real problem. When you have Kedusha in you, if you allow it to leave by doing sins, because the Kedusha doesn't want to be there, you're creating a void, a halal. And when you create the void, create that, then you make way for the Tumah to come in, and all of a sudden you have Tumah in your essence as opposed to having Kedusha in your essence.
Now, obviously Hashem knows our thoughts, but in this vein, do you think, like, is it brought down like, or maybe it's the opposite, is it brought down like somebody has like, okay, they don't go through with the action or whatever it is?
That's different.
Is it maybe like, oh, if they
wanted to do something but they didn't do it,
and then they don't do it,
better.
then it's better,
100%.
right?
Not only better, it's good. What do you mean? You're kovesh your yitzid. 1 second. You're kovesh your yitzid. I wanted to go do something bad and I stopped myself. That means you kovesh your yitzid. I told my yitzhara, no, my urge, my desire, I'm not going. I'm not going to do it. That's what do you mean? That's not only is that it's a ma'ala. It's great. Why would you think it's not? It's the whole concept of being kovesh yitzid is changing my not my inside, my nature. My nature is to want to go do whatever I want outside. But now when I hold back and say, no, I know that's my nature, but I'm not going to do it because the Torah says so. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says that don't say you don't that I don't want to eat milk and meat, it's nasty. He says, say I would love to eat milk and meat, but because the Torah says I can't, I don't. That's the right way to be. So when Bnei Yisrael we're rooted with Kedusha. And if we allow us to make sins, which would mean going forward and doing the bad, then you're going to let the Kedusha leave. And now what comes in? The Tum'ah. And we know that when a person does a mitzvah, you have a nitzots of Kedusha of that mitzvah inside of you. Okay, it stays with you. What's your job with the nitzotzot? To send them up to Shamayim. That's what a tikkun is. You're going to be metaken. But a nitzotz of that kedusha stays with you. But if the nitzotz is angry at you, why would the nitzotz be angry at you? Because you did it in tum'ah. I give a lot of charity. I steal a lot of money, but I give a lot of charity. You understand? I do good things, but it's in a state of tum'ah, of impurity. Then that nitzotz, right, that remnant that's staying with you, is mad at you. Why? What does that mean? It's mad at you because you caused it to be separated from the shoresh of the kedusha. Ve'adirabah, because what you do a mitzvah, it's supposed to go up. But if you don't, but if it doesn't go up properly, then it stays here. And if it stays here, why did it stay here? Because you did something in the wrong way. That's why it's called sheretz b'mikveh. You're dipping in the mikveh with a sheretz in your hand because you're doing nothing. You're tameh the whole time. So you're causing that this nitzotz of kedusha to sit with tumah that's inside of you. You do good things, but you also do bad things. But if you do bad things like bad things on purpose, what that good that you have inside of you, and now you imagine you have a house and now you brought in some hobo to live with you, smelly, no teeth, it's a disaster. Your wife's gonna kill you. Why is she gonna kill you? Because she's kadosh and you brought some tameh into the house, and now we gotta live together. Earth. So vehine. So that's one thing you have to know. The second thing is malachei haumot yesh lahem nitzotz shel kedusha. This is a hidush. So the nitzotz of the kedusha is given to the kings of the world also, right? That how do you know? Because what it says in Shulchan Aruch, we give a beracha. Shenatan mikevodo lebasar v'dam. When you see a king, you have to make a beracha. What's the beracha? That you gave from his kavod, from God's kavod, you gave it to basar v'dam, which means they have something that God has. God gave them something, just like Esav had. Why? What it says, Kisaid befiv, right? He was Said means he had game in his mouth. What does that mean? It was the nitzot, the spark of kedusha that he had in his head, because the mouth is a part of the head, and because of that, his head was zochet to be buried in Ma'arat HaMachpelah, right? Ubishbil zeh haya Yitzhak ohev oto. That's why Yitzhak loved Esav, because he's hoping that he was going to, because the nitzot in the head is great. What was Esav's problem? He didn't allow the kedusha to flow to the rest of his body. Mm-hmm. He wanted his body to be his body and his head to be his head. His body did all the bad things, but the potential that he had was here. was
But
here.
just a spark of it. It's
That's all you need.
It's not like he did.
How do you start a massive
Seder,
fire?
but
Spark.
it's not like he did good things. But where
No, that's
that
why
spark
that
resided
was in his mouth. Was right. It was in his head, and Yitzhak loved Esav for that reason because he's hoping. Look, his nitzot is high up.
He's hoping.
It's high up in the totem pole, in the chain, in the body. So therefore, he liked him. So you see from here that the goyim. Remember the whole thing. What are we trying to figure out? Why does it say that? It says that I'm going to separate you between you and the nations. That if you're going to be separate, if you're going to separate yourselves from the nations, you're going to be with me. If not, you're going to be with Nebuchadnezzar and his buddies. Mm-hmm. So we first explained in the Mekubalim, right, that anybody that's going to overpower Bnei Israel is going to be the head, right? And the Israel is shoresh in Kedusha. And when is that? When we do what we're supposed to do. But if we don't do what we're supposed to do, then the Kedusha leaves, and the Tumah comes in and takes a hold of us. So when we create some mitzvah in a state of tum'ah, that's bad because now we're bringing in something kadosh into something that's really tameh. Because you're supposed to make yourself good. You're supposed to make yourself kadosh. If you're gonna make your house, imagine bringing a guest into a very filthy home. You're embarrassed, and the guy doesn't even want to be there. By the way, right? The guy doesn't want to be in the house. Like, get me out of here. So that's the nitzot of the kedusha that is now residing in a tameh body because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So now you're impurifying yourself. That spark of holiness is upset that he's even there in the first place. That you salvaged him, that you saved him. I'd rather you leave me on the island. I would have been better off. And that's the first thing. The second thing is that we know that the Melechei HaUmot, right, the kings, the leaders of the nations also have Kedusha in them. They have in nitzot a spark of holiness also. How do we know? Because of what it says in Shulchan Aruch, we give a berachat to them when we see them. Shenatan, that you gave from his kavod to basar vadam, to men. Shenatan mi kevodo le basar vadam. And the same thing we bring Esav also, another proof that the leaders have nitzos, that Esav had it in his head, and that's why his head was buried in Ma'arat Machpelah, and that's why Yitzhak Avinu loved him. Ume'ata, now when Bnei Israel are chotim, when we make sins, hanitzot nishad bahem, right? The nitzot is left in them, in you. Shehu yahid, he's an individual, he's alone. He's surrounded by tumah, and rotzeh lehidabek beoto nitzot. Ha'aher sheyesh lo lamelech shel ha'umah. So what does he want to do? Your body is full of tum'ah. You want to be like the nations? That means by automatic, what are you doing? You're going to make yourself tameh. Well, you have a nitzot, a spark of holiness in you that's surrounded by tum'ah. So what does he want to get close to? Another nitzot of tum'ah. Who's the nitzot of tum'ah that caused all this tum'ah to be around? The nitzot of the melech, the leader of the nation. Umagbir koach ha'umah neged Israel.
It's really being a drug addict.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're filling a void with something that's poisoning them.
Right, so that's the tumah that you have, right? But you have that part of that's in good of
But
you.
like the what I meant by the drug addict part of it is like the person is like he's really feeling like an emptiness, and he just wants to feel connected to something. But
Yeah, right. Similar. So the nitzot, by the way, goes to that nitzot of the king. Why does he go to the nitzot of the king? Because that king
also has one.
and my guy, right? My body, I'm made of it. I'm made of my body, right? It says kevan shehu koes imahem. He's angry. The nitzot is angry at the Baal, right? The person because you caused everything around me to be tameh, right? Mm-hmm. So again,
that singular nitzot is like by itself,
surrounded by tumah.
Yeah, it's not like
right. So what does he do? Shehu yahid, right? This nitzot is when Bnei Yisrael sin. This nitzot that's remained in him is yahid. Rotzeh lidabek b'oto nitzot ha'acher sheyesh lo lamelech shel umah. Umagbir koach ha'umah neged Israel, and by doing that, he strengthens the koach, the strength of that nation against Israel. Why? Because he hates his owner, because he's mad at you. Because you allowed him to become so tameh. So he wants you to pay for it. And this is what the Midrash is saying. Im atem muvdalim, right? If you're going to be separated from the nations, then you will be mine. Right? Hare atem sheli. Mushrashim kulechem bikdusha. that you're going to be surrounded all with Kedusha. But if not, you're going to be like them, Nebuchadnezzar and his friends, which means what? Shekeva shenidbaktem bahem, because you wanted to go attach yourselves to them and their ways and their culture. Hanitzot shelachem, the nitzot that is within you, is mad at you, and now is going to give strength to the enemy.
So, I mean, you're gonna connect to something. Like you have that in you. The person is created with the need to connect. So either you're gonna connect yourself to Hashem and be surrounded by Kedusha and have a fulfilling life, or they're gonna connect to Nebuchadnezzar.
Right. So the Nitzot is going to strengthen the enemy. It's crazy. And that's what you see, that Nebuchadnezzar is called a lion, right? In Yirmiyah, he calls him an Aryeh. And he destroyed the Beit HaMikdash, that's called the lion. Do you know why the Beit HaMikdash is called the lion? Because if you look at the way a lion sits, you have the head up high, and his back is flat. If you look at the way the Beit HaMikdash, look behind you, look at the Beit HaMikdash, that's what it is. You see that the big part is the lion's head, and the front, the Azara and all that is the lion's back. So it looks like a shape of a lion, but a little upside, like the other way. Oh, no. I'll tell you why. No, it's not the Azara. It's
the steps look like the paws.
Yeah. Okay, fine. And the Hecha looks like the head, and after the Hecha, Kodesh Kodeshim, I guess, I think it was, because it was lower behind it. It was lower behind it. It wasn't all the same. It wasn't a box. It has the shape of a lion. So that's why, so Nebuchadnezzar, that's called an Aryeh, destroyed something that's called an Aryeh, which was the Beit HaMikdash. Why? Because the Nitzot, you have the choice. You want to be with me or you want to be with them. If you want to be with me, you'll be with my Aryeh, the Beit HaMikdash. If you don't want to be with me, then you end up being with Nebuchadnezzar. That's like an Aryeh. Okay? And like what we said, well, they give us the Gemara in Berachot that says, Sadiq mimenu boleya, Sadiq gamur eno boleya. I think over there it's talking about when a Rasha is rolling. Right? What does it say? Does it mention it? Or that when a Rasha has its moment, you can't, don't mess with him.
Swallows up someone who's more righteous than they.
Right. Wait, what does that mean? What do you mean?
Sadiq mimenu bolea. A wicked person swallows.
Right, a wicked person. So he's saying that a wicked person, when he has the sha'ah, right, he's able to overpower a sadiq. But a sadiq gamur, he won't be able to. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to be muvdal, if you're going to be separated between the goyim, you have to realize you're going to get more protection, not less. You're going to get more. The more separate you are with the people from the nations of the world, then the stronger you will be. And if not, then you're not going to be strong. So that's what he's trying to say, that to be mine. That if you're going to separate yourself from the nations, you will be mine. It's like, you understand, if you're going to be fake, because they know you're Jewish.
Like I was saying before, he said, as a Jews, I got news for you. If it came down to it, you're going to die as a Jews does also, because they don't care.
And it's going to be humiliating. It's going to be humiliating, because also what happens after you die, you go up to Shamayim. So now they sent you down here with a mission. Not only did you not do the mission, but you mekalkel what you did, and now they're going to say, what did you do? We sent you...
That's the upstairs part of it. It's a whole nother level. But down here, they don't care. They don't care that you're a Jew.
Who doesn't care?
The Nebuchadnezzars.
So the enemies don't care. No, the enemies, they do care that you're a Jew, otherwise they wouldn't kill you.
To subjugate you, yes.
Right, they don't care that you... No, they don't care that you think you're not. There's no such thing as switching sides. You can't say, I'm a Jew, I don't want to be a Jew anymore. It doesn't work. They're still going to kill you. Right? The Shoah, they killed you. They didn't care. I'm sure the people care. There was self-hating Jews back then, or people that didn't even act, that zero Jewish to them. He still wanted to eradicate them. So that's the whole thing. It's showing you that Hashem is the one that sends it down. You get to decide. You want to be with me or you want to be with them. You want to be with them, it ain't going to be pretty. Okay? But if you separate with them, they're going to respect you more, and you're going to be with me, and you're going to be mine, you're going to be kadosh. You don't have to worry about your holy nitzots that's inside of you, trying to rebel against you because you surrounded him with tum'ah. We should all be zocher. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Amen.